most people who come from different religious backgrounds or ethnic communities or racial backgrounds often discover is that when you get to know each other, what you find out is that you share pretty much the same values, that you may ground those values in a different language, you may use different symbols and metaphors to talk about the things that you believe, but in reality, how you see the world is not all that different. And for us, this was an attempt to indicate something that may come as a shock to a lot of people, which is how much Muslims and atheists have in common with each other in the United States. For instance, they both have actually similar numbers. About 2% of Americans called themselves atheists and about 1% called themselves Muslim. They are both currently tied, if you can believe that, for the least favorably viewed groups in America, atheists and Muslims. And they are both, quite marginalized in our larger discussion in a country in which 7 out of 10 Americans self-describe as Christian, in which Christianity oozes out of our very national culture. And then finally, and perhaps most importantly, both groups seem to be somewhat dominated by extremists in their communities. I mean, if you turned on the television and watched the news and that's all you knew about Islam, all you would understand is violence and terror. And if you looked at the bestseller list, as I said, and if you looked at who's talking about atheism in the media, it tends to be precisely the anti-theists who represent very few atheists in this country, but who are clearly the loudest voices. And the argument that we were making is that by not speaking to each other, by continuing to look at one another as the enemy, all we are doing is actually encouraging the stereotypes that Americans have about both of our communities.